Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Birgitta Visser, and I'm so happy that she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Caroline. How are you?
I'm fantastic when I see you. I heard you are in Spain right now. I love
Yes.
that. I love traveling as well. So I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. You are a soul empowerment coach, divine channel, and light language healer. You are the co-author of Become Empowered, Echoes of Grace and Strength, and the author of Becoming Authentically Me. Your work empowers individuals to align with their soul's purpose and embrace their potential for growth and healing. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Birgitta Visser.
Thank you, Caroline. You know what? I needed to add to that. There's another collaboration book that came out last week. I'm so glad you left me. That hit the #1 on Amazon. It's a bestseller. And then my next book, Child of the Sun, En route to Enlightenment in India, comes out just before Thanksgiving.
I love that. And I love books as well. And I created an Amazon list where I put all the books of my podcast. So nice. I'm adding your books, of course, and then people can look it up. And I like this. So thank you so much for sharing. And my first question to you is, how did your journey into soul empowerment and light language healing begin? And what has shaped your unique approach?
Well, I had to be born first, right? But trauma, let's put it on trauma and life experiences. And I think many people that go through trauma, pain, suffering, um, they find their way back to themselves, and they really inspire and empower others. So it's not been an easy road. And, for me, I was molested as a child by a friend of the family, and the 1980s were very different. I lost my dad when I was 14. I was already throwing away my lunch because I was very good at not eating. But at the dinner table, I'd eat. I was very tall. Well, I am still very tall. I'm 5'11", which is 1 meter 80 nearly. And I just wanted to be invisible in high school because I was bullied. Because I was too skinny, kids copied my homework. And I think also with my dad passing at such a young age, it really just also dented my confidence. But, as far as the abuse that happened, I only told my mom when I was 19. So I kept that bottled up. And I think nowadays, people are more open about it. But back in those days, the 1980s, were very, very different. And so it's always, as I say, Caroline, when you suffer from any type of abuse, any type of trauma, and you don't heal it, you create more trauma on top of that because you're not healing. So there is a kink in the cable in your energetic frequency. So if you lug it around like Atlas with the weight of the world on your shoulder, and you don't release it, you don't alchemize it, you don't heal it, it just keeps accumulating and accumulating and accumulating because it's such a dis-ease within yourself. It took me many years, because even when I tried my hand in the modeling industry, because I really wanted to prove myself, but hey, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. But when you're younger, you want to prove yourself, to the world and to those around you. And I was assaulted in the industry, and and I kept that bottled up. I've moved more times than my age, and I'm 50 now, and I'm just a seeker. I'm a wanderer. That's I'm a bit of a nomad. And of course, I rolled into dysfunctional relationships. I've had my share with drugs. Short stint of 3 months when my stepdad passed away, and I suffered blackouts, and that wasn't the way forward. Just wasn't the way forward. And it took me probably until 2009. I was in my 30s, and I hit rock bottom because my ex was involved with the Dutch Crips in Holland. and I saved his life. I helped the police, but it just tore me apart. And I took a whole box of ibuprofens or aspirin, and that wasn't the way to deal with it. And I think I really hit rock bottom, and I had to figure out what to do. And so I went to see a counselor in the UK, because my mom, moved me back from Holland to the UK, and I got an apartment. And I went to see the counselor, and she listens to my story, and she goes, "Birgitta, you know what? You're strong enough. You'll be fine." And I was like, "Great, that's not helping me." But you know what, Caroline, I didn't come here with a cheat sheet around my neck to see what I would have to do next. And so I rolled into Reiki. And that really helped me. She became my teacher, and she was amazing. And in those days, when you learned level 1 and 2, it took you a while. It's not like in one weekend you'd be a Reiki healer. So it took me like 1.5 years in case studies. And then I studied many more healing modalities. I really wanted to learn. I wanted to understand, addiction, because my ex was a crack addict. And I studied the emotional freedom technique, which is really powerful. So it's a tapping. Became meditation teacher. Gosh, I studied angelic Reiki, aromatherapy, holistic nutrition, you name it. I was like a SpongeBob. Yep. And so years later, I rolled into another dysfunctional relationship. And yes, I was teaching Reiki. I was tuning people. I was doing other workshops, but it wasn't really, yes, it was a stepping stone. And then, several years later, I had someone that just would not leave me alone. And I sold my house to get away from him. But the beauty of that was, Caroline, is that I met my former mentor, Alania Starhawk, and she did Akashic record healing, so past lives, and she walked through them with me. And it's such a beautiful experience, because on this earth plane, it's like when you still have these karmic ties and they are released, and especially with my ex, was like, boom, he left me in peace, because the energy had changed, the frequency had changed. And that was really beautiful. And then she had a workshop, and I learned how to channel. But it was only because my mind was shot. I'd always say that, because I was down in the dumps, and she really did help me. But she had a beautiful exercise, and that was where you just sit down. You have a notepad and a pen, and you just say to the universe, "I'm open and I'm ready to receive." And I took that with me, and I went home after the workshop. And that's what I did. And I sat down, and what I wrote, when I look back at it, was Old English prose. And so, yes, I started to ask questions, because that's the way I am. And I just got the answers, and I wrote them down. And then I started using my cards. And I get an archangel or an ascended master, and I just asked them if they had a message to convey. And that was really powerful. And and after that, I also learned light language, and I just keep on learning, and I keep on developing. So that's where the light empowerment coaching comes in, because it's taking responsibility for our lives, taking accountability, and understanding that we have the power to change. Yeah, everything is within us, but we give our power away so freely because we want to fit into a mold in society, how society has been created. And I always say that's rubbish. I've had to live and learn, but it's all about, it's all about you. And, you have to do what makes your heart sing. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. What matters is what you think of you and how you feel about yourself. Yeah, so hop out of that mold.
Hop out of that mold. This is so beautiful. And what you shared, thank you so much for sharing. So it began with, you started with Reiki, and I have to add admit I never had a session or so. I have a vision what it can be,
Yep.
but I never, only people are telling me about that. And then you talked about the other techniques as well, and I love the channeling. I remember, I don't know if you know the book. For example, I Am the Word by Paul Selig. It is a channel text, and I studied this the whole year, for example, because I was so fascinated. I was just listening to it, to the book, and then I was reading it live on Facebook every day because I was so in love with this how he put the words or the entity that he channeled. And I love that you do this too. And you said it is so easy. It starts by asking questions, and then you take a pen and a piece of paper and you let it flow. You shut off your mind, right? The no mind, the no thinking. Let's say this is where all the things are created, right? From the void, the no thing. So
It's
I love.
trust.
What did you say?
It's about having trust.
Trust, yes, trust the universe that it moves into form. So I love that you talk about the mold. We are pressing our visions upon the substance, the gray substance, and we mold it, hop into the mold. You said it's the manifestation process and also the incarnation process. I had the tendency to say reincarnation. You talked about the Akashic records. I have to think about it because in German it's another word. We call it chronicles or something, but it's the same. And you talked about past lives and also and to dissolving past traumas and wounds. Let's say wounds, healing.
Healing, yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's dive into the next question. I'm very excited and curious. In Becoming Authentically Me, you share your personal story of resilience. What key moments in your life inspired you to step into the role of guiding others?
Because, Caroline, we're all here to inspire and to empower others. Many people suffer, and there is no need for that if we only shift our mindset, shift our consciousness, and become aware of our experiences. I always say there's no good or bad experience, there's just an experience, and that's that shift in perception. And the truth is, I'm not, yes, we we live in a world of dualities, of the ego. And I always say ego means to eject God out, but we're not competing with one another. And we're still kind of in that phase, but we're shifting because many people are awakening. And it's all about co-creating together. And life is all about a return to love. That's what it is, nothing more, nothing less. And to realize that we are divine alchemists, that what we think, we create, because we are energy, we are frequency. We're not just this body, but everything we think, it's like it goes out into the ether, into the universe. And what we think as well, I always say the mind listens very carefully. It's like this little librarian that's eavesdropping, and it listens to every word that you say. And so it's like, keep your thoughts positive. And people are like, yeah, but how am I going to keep my thoughts positive? It's by shifting that mindset and healing, and again, taking that accountability for our lives. And people will say, yeah, but this person did that to me, and that person did that to me. And if I were to hold up a mirror in front of you, you'd be pointing at yourself. Yeah. Everything starts with you.
Everything starts with me, and I am you, and you are me. So beautiful.
Yes,
yes, of course,
yes.
It is. But we all fall into that trap of the ego. I love how you pointed this out. eject God out. You said
Yeah.
this. I have to remember this, of course. And this is so true. How can I think positively? I would say by making a decision and doing it
Yes.
every day, working on that.
Oh, absolutely. And nothing's going to happen if you just remain sitting on that couch. Nothing. You have to get up and do the work. It's not like there's some fairy godmother out there that's going to wave her magic wand and say, "Ooh, life gets better." If we call upon upon the archangels, when I called upon Archangel Michael, it's like, what do you think he's going to pick me up out of the experience and say, "Oh, Birgitta, you don't have to go through this"? No, he shoved my face straight into my fears because I had to walk through it to understand the experiences. And so I look back on my life and it's just like, I am so grateful for everything that I went through, because we're all well, triggers, we are reflections of one another, and we're teachers of one another. And when we change that thought process, we can really learn a lot.
If we are open to it, yes. You name
Yes.
it. There are people out there open to it. So please reach out to Birgitta. She's amazing. She shares her wisdom with you, of course. I love that. And I have another question for you, of
Sure.
course. How can individuals start tuning into their soul's purpose and begin the process of unlocking their potential for growth and empowerment?
Well, it starts by wherever you are at this point in your life. Yeah. Just embrace, well, I always say embrace, but accept yourself as you are, where you are, and make the necessary changes from this point forward. And I always say to people, Caroline, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter how you decide to heal, that is your choice. Whether it's you want to take the holistic route, you want to do counseling, cognitive behavior, um, whatever it is, you need to take that first step. And there is absolutely no shame in reaching out for help. Yeah, we can't do it all alone. Um, and if you're really unsure, you don't know how to reach out, I always say just throw it out into the universe. Yeah. And you will always get like a little breadcrumb that you didn't see before. It's worked for me that way in the past. And trust me, I've been on the floor crying my eyes out, not wanting to go on anymore because I was probably depressed and shouting at the universe. And just like that, it's like I hurt them or they hurt me and I hurt them. And it's just, yeah, I just listen to the wisdom within, because we live so much without ourselves that we forget to listen to our inner voice, our soul.
This was impressive. Yes, we have all the answers inside us. We can ask powerful questions, then we receive the answers, of course, within our subconscious mind, let's say our heart, right? And what you said about the teacher or asking for help, of course, we have to be open as well. And I know this quote, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. You know this?
Yes, the
Of course.
master appears. Yes.
Yes, it's always like that, and we are surrounded by teachers every day. So, my last question to you is about your goals and your intentions. Do you set goals, and what is one of your next projects?
Whew, I'm like a hamster on a treadmill. Oh, it's, on a hamster wheel. It's never ending. So I have another 3 books to write. Yeah, I've got another one coming out in February, and that is about plant medicine. So tomorrow I will be doing I'll be doing ayahuasca, and I'll be writing about the experience, because I think many of the ancient South American traditions are, how do I put it, are often misunderstood. And even though much has been written about it, I mean, I channel a lot, so we will see what happens. But so yeah, that one comes out in February. And then I've got another 2 to write because I set the bar very high for myself. And there will be another book that I'll be writing about the angels, all types of angels, including the unemployed angels. And the unemployed angels, you can ask for help anytime. And it's really, again, you sit down with your notepad or a piece of paper and a pen, and I don't care how many requests you want to ask of them. You know, they're lined up at the job center up there, and they're like, excuse me, we won't work. And so it's really about just when you ask them for help, it's really saying, you know, I ask the unemployed angels or the volunteer angels of the highest vibrational frequency and unconditional love and compassion to help me with. And it can be health, can be a home, can be legal, can be anything you want. And when you write it down, boom, and you let it go, you will see that things will start to change. And then every couple of days, you just go back to it and you just repeat it. Even though you've written it down, you just repeat it and go through it. And maybe some, you know, you can already cross some things off. It works really, really beautifully to tap into these energies. So yeah, and my light language, I love my light language. Eventually, I will step out of the corporate world because I do a lot of hours in that because I work in oil and gas. So can you imagine? I have one foot very much in corporate, but also a foot in the spiritual. But I really just want to help people, empower people, and inspire people, and you know, to make them realize that life can be better and that we are deserving.
Absolutely, life can be better. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm inspired now, and the whole audience, of course. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Oh, my final thoughts.
You can include where we can find you, for example,
Yes.
when we reach out to you.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me on powersoulhealing.com. I'm on YouTube, which is also Power Soul Healing, and on Instagram under Universal Light Warriors. So yes, and always never think so little of yourself, because you are worthy. It doesn't matter, again, what other people may think of you. We're, you know, many people, we're opinionated, we're judgy, and that causes people to feel insecure within themselves. But we're all beautiful lights encapsulated within this body, and we're all here to help one another and just to inspire one another. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And also to return to that wholesome and more loving nature within ourselves.
The nature within ourselves. Your final thoughts. Thank you so much for our interview. I'm blessed.
Oh, thank you so much, Caroline.
And see you in the next episode.